Just to let you know, the UNOPS executive director is coming in a few minutes. He's on his way from the 7th floor. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, the Undersecretary General is coming in 2 minutes, okay? Sorry for this. Dois, três, sim. Não.
So on the Secretary General, with no further specification. Okay. So procéder à et
Voilà. No. We are on.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. We have the Executive Director of the UN Office for Project Services, Mr. Jorge Moreira de Silva. He'll be making a short statement, and then he will take a couple of questions. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for joining us with a short notice, and apologies for being late, but I've been following the situation by the minute and trying to collect all the available information to provide you with all the accurate information. So that's the reason why I was delayed getting the last details. You may have known from the last couple hours that reports are coming in that UNOPS colleague has been killed in Gaza following explosions in Deir al-Balah. It's where we have our compound, our guest house, our premises in Gaza. It is understood that this UNOPS premises was hit at approximately 11:30 a.m. this morning. Today's incident follows strikes yesterday, but also 2 days ago. 2 days ago, there was a near miss to this premises, Monday, and yesterday the premises was hit, and today there was another hit, unfortunately, with these casualties. This incident, again, is following activities on deconfliction with the Israeli Defense Forces. I want to stress this point. These premises were well known by the Israeli Defense Forces, and they were deconflicted. And you know what does it mean, deconflicting? It means that everyone knew who was working inside the premises. It was UN personnel, UNOPS. It is also understood that there are at least 5 additional casualties, several of whom are very severely injured. In addition to this colleague that lost his life, these other 5 colleagues lost their eyes, legs, so they are severely injured following today's attacks. There is no confirmation at this stage to the nature of the incident, but I want to stress that this location was in an isolated area. There were no other buildings nearby. It was a very well-known premises, and it was in an isolated area in Deir al-Balah. What we do know is that an explosive ordnance was dropped or fired at infrastructure and detonated inside the building. We don't know at this stage what type it was. We don't know if it was airdrop weapons, if it was artillery or rocket. I can't provide this information. As you imagine, we are contacting our colleagues. Most of them are in shock with difficulties to provide testimony. But as you know, we are doing all the investigations with the colleagues that have their specific responsibilities within the UN in this area. It should be stressed that it was not through any action removing unexploded ordnance at the location. So this is not related, this explosion is not related with any activity related with mine action. As you know, part of my team that is in Gaza is doing mine action, removing of unexploded ordnance, clearing mines. This was not the case. So it's related with explosive ordnance that was dropped or fired to the premises that were hit, as I mentioned, yesterday and again today. In my opinion, this was not an accident. It cannot be categorized as an accident. It is at least an incident. What is happening in Gaza is unconscionable. I'm shocked and devastated by this tragic news. I visited Gaza 3 weeks ago. I engaged with my team. I saw the absolute dedication of my team in Gaza last month. They and other UN workers and premises should never be targeted. And I want to express, as the head of this organization, UNOPS, my sincere condolences to all those affected and to their families. And I'm expressing that, of course, also on behalf of the entire UN family, who is also expressing their solidarity to UNOPS and to the families of those affected by this situation. Attacks against humanitarian premises are a breach of international law. UN personnel and its premises must be protected by all sides. The civilian population relies on the UN for life-saving assistance. They are an essential lifeline at the time of utter tragedy and devastation. I renew the UN call for the resumption of the ceasefire, for unimpeded humanitarian assistance to be reestablished, and for the remaining hostages to be released unconditionally. I ask your indulgence for the fact that I may not have, at this time, all the information that you may want. But I didn't want to delay my statement, knowing that we are accountable and people need to know what is happening. But I kindly ask you for some indulgence, as some information I'll be able to provide, we'll be able to provide in the next few hours and days. This is what we know now. The fact that a UN premises were under attack, that a UN colleague of mine from my team was killed, that 5 are injured and some of them severely injured, that this premises was under attacks in the last 3 days. And that's the information that I have, and I have to express my shock with this circumstance, particularly in a moment where so many people in Gaza have lost their lives in the last 48 hours. I'm ready to answer to a few questions, but again, I kindly ask you for some indulgence, as I may not be able to answer to all the questions at this time.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Rosie Bircher for DW. Can you clarify if you've been in touch with the IDF at all in general respond to that, and have you been in touch with them? Thank you.
Well, I've not been directly in touch in the last few hours, but as you know, the UN is always in contact with IDF. We have a deconflicting mechanism. I visited Gaza recently. Of course, I met with Israel, but I'm not doing that in the daily basis. We have a structure, a UN structure in Gaza, direct contact points with IDF, and that's why I stated in my initial declaration that this premise was deconflicted, which means that Israel knew that this was a UN premises, that people were living, staying and working there. It's, by the way, a compound, a guest house where most of us also stay, not only from UNOPS, but also from other UN agencies. Recent visits from several colleagues of the UN, heads of agencies, they stayed in this house. They stayed in this guest house. So this is a very well-known place, so well-known that several heads of agencies of the UN stayed in this compound very frequently.
UN source in New York City, we're talking about 2 cases. Do you have any idea about the second one?
I'm prudent about the numbers, and that's why I was literally until the last minute trying to confirm everything. We have confirmed at least one fatality from the UN. There is the possibility that another fatality may happen not related with the UN staff. That's why I'm prudent on that. So I can confirm one UNOPS colleague that lost his life, but I cannot go into any further information.
Sorry, just to clarify, that parallel from political, it was the Israeli Defense Forces who fired, right? Just to clarify.
Well, of course, investigations will follow. That's something that I cannot report in terms of investigation. The recent strikes were reported in the last 3 days, and we contacted Israeli forces precisely to confirm that this premises was deconflicted. So this information is relevant. After the first strike 2 days ago, Monday, there were contacts to confirm something that it was already evident, but we wanted to confirm that these premises were deconflicted. And there was a confirmation that it's deconflicted. But I cannot answer to any, provide any further information on that. We are even trying to identify the nature of the explosion, whether it was airstrike or a tanker or any kind of explosion.
Take one more.
I wonder if you have any information on nationalities of the one that killed people, and I would like to ask you if you can make a short statement in Portuguese to synthesize this information.
Well, on the nationality, we are informing the families, so I don't feel comfortable to share the nationality of the colleague that lost his life. It's an international, so it's not someone from Gaza, but I prefer not to share the nationality, as of course we need to engage with the family first. I'm spending all my time, as you imagine, with my team trying to evacuate those that are severely injured. At this current stage, my top priority is to try to help the evacuation of the severely injured colleagues. Of course, we are also conducting investigations, especially the colleagues in the UN system that have the responsibility on that, which is not UNOPS. But I'm sure that you understand the reason why I prefer not to disclose the information about the specific nationality or even the team. UNOPS works in Gaza providing fuel we procure and distribute fuel in Gaza. We manage the so-called 2720 mechanism, which is the facilitation of all aid into Gaza. So it's my team that approves the consignments to Gaza, the trucks, and it's my team that monitors the trucks outside Gaza, but also inside Gaza. We are also doing mine action, which is helping removing explosives and mines. So this is a big team. Hopefully, we didn't have all the colleagues inside the compound. Most of the colleagues were not at the time inside the compound. If that would be the case, the tragedy would be even worse. Last question. One more.
Yes.
Yes, what will be the consequence for the operations of the UN in Gaza? Will you limit your activities?
We have stayed and delivered for the people in Gaza in the last year and a half. This was not the first colleague from UNOPS that lost his life. It's the second. We had another colleague that was a driver of trucks providing aid to Gaza that lost his life almost 1 year ago. It is very difficult to operate in Gaza. There is immense human suffering in Gaza. We have been challenging the fact that international humanitarian law has not been respected, because international humanitarian law requires that civilians are not targeted, that humanitarian aid can be provided in an unimpeded manner. It must be ensured that the humanitarians can work, that working for the UN must provide some sort of guarantee that we can operate serving those most in need without being a target or being affected by any kind of incident, not accidents. We remain committed despite the awful situation, and I really hope that we can go back to the ceasefire. I saw the importance of the ceasefire when I visited Gaza a few days ago, seeing the provision of aid reaching those most in need. But as you mentioned today, I'm completely concentrated in supporting my team, my colleagues, trying to ensure evacuation of those severely injured, and providing all the solidarity to the team. They have been facing extremely different circumstances in the last year and a half, and of course this incident is causing significant harm in our morale. But we have to stay, we have to support the people. We are here to serve the people in need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigado pela próxima.
Olha, tens a certeza e noção que só as revisões